Hi everyone, I'm making a quick video just to show you the power of Green Shift and ACPT. I know there's a few of us that have asked on the Green Shift group, so I thought this is a good chance for me as I'm kind of recreating my own website, my own agency website. So this is a website I've made a few weeks ago. It's not complete yet, most of it's done, just one nagging form that I've got to kind of complete. And here you can see that I've used a query loop, and it just goes around and around as you've seen in many websites, right? But the key thing is that these reviews here, they're all dynamic reviews. And so instead of just taking it from Google, for example, I've made my own custom post so that I can add reviews whenever I want. And it will automatically, as soon as I add those reviews, will be placed here by itself. I don't have to do any more work once I've added the review. And so that's what I want to do now with my own website. Now, my own website is quite old, but this is an example of a custom post that I've created and the layout, something similar I'm going to create, maybe not as animated. So this is a non-animated version of one of our websites. And you can see that it's just pure static, but the dynamic reviews here will change as soon as I add more reviews. But I'm not going to make a review website or a website for reviews here. So what I'm going to do is, this is my old website. It's quite outdated now. Lots of new things that I've learned and I want to kind of implement. I don't really like the look of this anymore, especially this section here. It kind of doesn't look really well on mobile, doesn't work very well on mobiles. And even at our services, this is what I'm going to change now. So I've got a few services here. I'm going to add a few more services. Now, I don't want to keep adding more services and adding it onto a page, and it becomes quite cumbersome, right? Quite lengthy to keep adding new services or subtracting, taking away services. So there must be a better way. So that's where custom posts comes in. And I'm going to use ACPT with Green Shift, and I've got Bloxy theme as well. So I'm going to use a combination of those three things. The first aspect is to create new custom posts. Now, I've already done one for services, so I'm not going to redo that, but I'll just show you how to do that anyway. So I would just do register new post. Once you've installed ACPT, put in your license code, register new post. I would write services here, and then you'd write whatever you want here, singular post, single label. So services is your custom post name, singular post would be service, and plural would be services again. And then you can choose an icon. Let's say I'll just choose a random one, maybe something like this. And because I already have services here, I'm just going to write services 2 for the time being. I'm not going to add this. And then you can choose the kind of posts that you want, right? You want the title for sure. So my service title would be things like WordPress web design, editor, so you can edit, thumbnail, so it's like an image that you can have for each service, and an excerpt. I don't probably need an excerpt for this. I'll add my own kind of excerpt possibly, or something like this. And then I'll just click on next step. And then it goes through again. So on the left hand side, I've got services here. So what would you want to see? So you'll have something like services 2, for example, whatever name you want to put in on the menu name. All items is services, and add new service, add new item, add new service, and so forth. And you click next. And then you can choose your final options, hierarchical, whether you need something like pages. I don't think I do with this service. Whether you want there to be an archive page, which we will have, and whether you need any other kind of options here. It's quite a few options. You can go through them yourself. ACPT have decent documentation, so you can kind of go through anything you're not sure about. But I think I'm going to leave it like this for the time being. Okay, and I can press save, and that will create my new custom post. Now I'm not going to press save because I've already got a custom post here called services, and so I'm going to use this. Now, after you've created a custom post, then you need to kind of think about what fields you need, right? What fields you need to have for your custom post. So I'm going to go to field groups. I've already got one for projects and reviews. I'm going to create a new meta group. Okay, these are the options. So let's have a quick look. What are field groups, right? It might not make sense to you. So for example, I've got reviews, I've got projects. Let's look at my projects. I've got this website I made called Everfit Coaching, and my meta box here, title. So these are your field groups. I've put scope, I've put process, and I've just put some random things. And I've even put a repeater field, which we won't go into in this video. And I've got features, for example, I might have LMS, I might have other features as well. And I can add a picture or an image for each feature. So for example, if I have created LMS for this website, then I can add a picture of the LMS setup for that specific website, right? And I can do other things as well. And these are all the fields that I have for my case studies, right? I suppose, right? My projects that I've done. So our field groups is going to be based on what we're going to do in today's video, which is services. And so I'm going to create new meta group, and I'm going to add some field groups for services. Now I've got to think about that beforehand, right? I've got to think about what do I need in my services category. So one of the things I'm going to do is firstly rename. So this is a bit unclear on ACPT. Go straight into this menu, and so I want to rename my my field group. So I'm going to go over here where it says group name, and then I'm going to click on edit, and I'm going to then rewrite my group name. So what am I going to call it? I'm just going to call it something simple like service service group. Okay, service field group, service group. Okay, now that I've done that, that's great. Now the other aspect of this is I'm going to keep this display as all of that as is. I'm going to have to add a new condition. What does that mean? It means these fields that I'm adding, how does it know, how does ACPT or WordPress know that it's linked to your services? So I'm going to add a condition, and I'm going to click on post type is equal to, and then I'm going to click on service, right? Or services, service, right? Should say services, right? Services, service. Right, so service, should rename that services. So now I've added that condition, I can save. And strangely enough, with ACPT, it just goes onto this field groups section. But what I would like it to do instead is, it was service group here. I want to edit that, and I want to make sure that I have my meta boxes. Now this is where it gets interesting, and where we need to start thinking about, okay, what is going to appear in the service section, right, of my website. So I need to think about that and then add those meta boxes in. So when I create a new service, I need to have everything I want on the website here. So that's the first step, plan. Let's have a look at my current website so that we can get a good idea about what I want in my service section. So we've got our service. So this is a one-page website, right? I created it quite a while ago in a rush. And so it looks okay, but I want to improve on this. So I know I've got a title. So our service has got a title. It's got a testimonial, I suppose, right? So I might want to add that for this specific design or this service. And then I've got some the price. And I've got some key points here, right? Key features. So those are the things I'm going to want. Right, so title, maybe possibly a testimonial. I'm going to think about that. Probably useful to have that associated with the actual service, the price, and the key features. Now the key features are a bit tricky here, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, which is not bad. Okay, I've got 5 in all of them. But in the future, I might have a service that doesn't have 5 points. It might have only 3 points or 8 points, right? So that means I'm going to have something that allows me to sometimes enter 3 or 5 or 8. And that is where the repeater field comes in. Okay, so at first, when I was making websites, I was really unsure what the difference between a repeater field and custom post words. But you can see here that I've got 5 sections here, but I might only need 3 for this one. That's where repeaters really are helpful. Okay, so that's where we're going to start making our meta boxes. So let's do that. Add meta box, and this is where it looks complicated. You're going to start adding a field box, and the first field we're going to have, well, you might think, I need a title first, right? So that's the first thing I need. Not really, because the actual post name, the custom post name, so when you go to services, for example, and you add a new service, just like posts, the top and name appears. That's going to be your, I'm going to use that as my service name. That's done, right? So I don't need to do that one. I'm going to then say price, probably a good one, right? So let's do price, and price is going to be not a text field. Is going to be, let's see what options there are. There are quite a few, right? Editor, number, range, so it could be a number. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is also currency somewhere. If I can see it, there we are, currency. So we've got currency here. Price is going to be a currency. Default field value, I'm not going to need to add a description if I want to. Advanced options on top, field width. There is a here default value here in unit of measure, and I want that to be Great British Pounds, as we're in England. So I want that to be GBP, Great British Pounds, right? And then any conditional values, I don't think I need anything at the moment. Validation, permissions, no, I think that will do. Okay, that's all I need for the time being. I could add the pound symbol somewhere, text before, right? And so I could add a pound symbol. I might do that now. I might change it later. I can easily change it by going to the edit. So, okay, that's done. Okay, so I've done the first one, price, right? So I've done price. Then I'm going to need maybe this repeater field, which is going to be 2 things here, right? There's an icon here, and there is a what's that, a kind of feature, I suppose, right? Consultation, yeah, so key points or features. So I might write key points, right? So how do I do that? I'm going to add a field again. I'm going to choose, let's say, key points, and I'm going to make this a repeater. So if I go down to repeater here grouped, there's me repeater. I'm not sure what flexible is. I've got to find that out myself. So I'm click repeater, and then I'm going to add the child. So repeater means, okay, this is something that's going to repeat, but I need to know what to repeat. So I'm going to just write, I've got key points here, so I might just write features, right? Features name already exists. Okay, features, service features. Okay, I'm gonna write service features, and this is gonna be a text, and that's it really. That's all I need, right? But should I add an icon? I could add an icon as well, right, for each feature, but I'm most likely going to put ticks, right? So I will avoid that for the time being. But I know that's going to be a repeater field. Now you might think, why did I need that? Why can't I have just feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and so forth? That's something that we could do, but it's just going to mean that you're going to have lots of different kind of options there. We don't know where to stop. If I have 5 fields, feature 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I might not need all 5 of them, and it gets complicated. That's why this is one, but then you can add more along this. If you think of it as like a sub list, right, of key points. Okay, so that's done. What else was it that I needed? So I've got that, price, this, what have I written down? I've got service name, which is done, description, right? I don't think I need an icon. Key points is a repeater, done, and I'll need a description. Okay, so description is another field, so I'm gonna add field, and I'm gonna write description, service description, because there's probably something already called description, service description, if I can spell it right. There we are. And now I've got service description. This is not going to be just a text. is going to be a text area. The reason I've changed it to text area is because it's going to be a little bit more writing in there. So I've done text area. Okay, right. So I'm going to save that. And I think we're done. Okay, so I've done all of that. It's saved. It said save somewhere at the bottom here. You can see. Oh, you can't really see it here because of my screen. Don't worry about that. So it's saved. Gave me a notification that it's saved. And now I think I'm done, right? I've got my fields. I know it's linked to projects because it says group label projects, project groups, sorry, service groups. I know it's linked to services because it says I've made that clear up here. If you're unsure, if you've accidentally forgotten to kind of put that in, you can click on settings, edit here, and then you can just choose your condition. This is post type is equal to services, all done, perfect. Okay, that you can see it's just saved here. Okay, so I think we're done here, right? So the next step is to go to services. I've got no services written here. I'm going to add new service. There we are. Here we go. Look at that. We've got near enough everything here, I think. Let's see. I've got price. I've got key points, but I don't have, for some reason, I don't have my description. So I'm going to look at that in a second. So let's call this WordPress website. Okay, that's going to be my first one. Price starting from, so I'm going to write from. We're starting to charge about 900 and let's say 999 pounds. Okay, 999, which is emergency services in England, so it might not be great there. But let's say 999 pounds. Okay, I can change that later on. So I'm just going to publish that for the time being because I want to quickly check why my description isn't appearing. It might be that I accidentally put it along with the repeater field. So let's see if that's the mistake I made. So I've got my field groups, services, edit, and let's see. So I've got price, great. I've got key points, great. There, service description is actually within the repeater. So what would happen is that every time you want to repeat, you'll have key feature and then service description. I can have an icon there, right? Let's do that now because I've already put that there. I'm going to put icon there and I'm going to choose an icon field type. Where is that? I'm sure I've seen it earlier. Icon field type. So now for each service feature, I can have an icon. I'll probably get rid of that. Instead of adding field box here, I need to add field box here. Right, as a separate field box, and this is where I'm going to have service details. Okay, service details. There we are. Service details. Oops, I don't need this actually here. Service details. There we are. That's better. And that's going to be my text area. And now I'll save. Right. So now, if I go back to services, you will see that we have WordPress website. We have service details here. I've got my key points here, and I've got my price here. I've already put down the WordPress website. If I wanted, I could also put down something like a feature image here. I could select a feature image. I don't need to, I don't think, for this specific custom post, so I won't do that. But what I'll do here is I'll write a quick description. So I'm just going to take it. I will probably change this. Oh, I forgot to do the actual quote, right? Or the review. So I'll add that on as well. I don't have any service description here, which is unusual for me. And so I will just put some lorem ipsum just for the time being. So I'm going to type in lorem ipsum like I normally do. And I will just grab some lorem ipsum here. And I don't even know if I'm saying lorem ipsum properly. And I'll just add it to my service details right here. Oops, there we are, pasted it there. So that's done, service details technically done. And add key points. So I'm gonna click on that, add key points, and it says service feature and icon. So here is where I can take service features. So I might just choose any one here. So modern minimalistic designs, that could be a feature. I might add an icon, I might not. I can add another one. So here we are. We've got WordPress based. I don't need to put that in because I've already chosen to call it WordPress because I'm only going to use WordPress. It could be any of these things. Keep going, and then I'm just going to add. See here, there you go. So look, in this service, I'm only going to have 4, as you can see, because I've got rid of the WordPress based, and I want to add one more. Okay, bookings. I don't know why it says bookings here. It's just a bit silly. There's many more features that we can have. But here is what I've got so far. So I'm going to save that. And there we go. We have our first WordPress website service, and we're done. Now, obviously, this is not how I want it to look. I want it to look more like this, right? Or like this. And so how do we go about that? That's going to be something we're going to look at in another video. So for now, all I'm going to do is take you back to this website that I'm still creating. I'm not happy with the hero section here. It looks okay, but there's something that I want it to improve on. I've got a few other things here, as you can see. This is a custom field I've taken. I have to add a quote, right? So I will do that as well before the end of this video. Yeah, I've got quite a long way to go. Here are featured projects. That's again taken from, so these projects can be taken from the projects section, but because I've only got one, they were actually just images. So I need to change that. So in the future, it will just automate that. It'll be much easier for us. But if we go to our services again, and if I remember right, I've forgotten what have I forgotten again? The review, right? So let's see, how am I going to do this? I'm going to go to ACPT, my field groups, because I want to add that field. It's for the service group. So I'm going to go edit service group. And then I'm just going to add at the bottom, add field group is going to be, I'm going to call this, I normally call service, I'm going to call this service review headline. So I'm not going to have like a whole section, right? Or should I have a whole? Yeah, I think probably a headline, right? I'm going to say service review headline. And that's going to be a quick text, and that's fine. I'm going to add another one, service review full. So my headline, so here, if you have a look, these are like headlines, right? They're a bit longer headlines for this one, but let's say this is another headline, okay? And this is the full review. Now, I don't know if I need the full review actually for this, but headline should do for something like this. But that's where you can kind of decide for yourself. So I might just get rid of that actually, full review. I just want a quick headline for this specific section. Okay, so service review headline. What else did I have? I had a person's picture, reviewer name, reviewer image, and reviewer business, right? So I'm going to have reviewer name, image, and business. So add that here, reviewer name. So the name of the person, that's going to be a quick textbook. This name already exists. Okay, I'm going to write service reviewer name, service reviewer reviewer image, and that's going to be an image, and service reviewer name, image, and service reviewer, what can I have? Business, right? Now I can make that business URL, but I don't want my clients to go to a different website. I want them to stay on my website. So I'm just going to have it as a text. Okay, service reviewers business. So there we are, and that's going to be a text, and that's it, done. I save that and go back to my services, and I can see that I have those options here as well, right? Service reviewer headline, service reviewer name, service reviewer image, I can upload, and service reviewers business. That's it, but I didn't like one thing about that. Services, build groups, edit. I didn't like the fact that the review headline, which is this one here, was a text field. I'd rather it be a text area. So let's have a look at that. Is it services, WordPress website, the one that we've made? And I can see that now it's much more friendlier for us to write a proper headline or some extra maybe words. It's much nicer for us to use. That's it really for this video. It's part one, I suppose. And the second part would be where I use those informations. Once I've added a few more services, I'm going to use that information to create my own custom post section where it's the services that are clearly labeled. You can see it nicely. I might also do a video for reviews and projects so that you can use that in your own websites. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and it's beneficial for you. Let me know if you would like me to do more.